Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about Battlefield 2042 and some of the settings I've recently changed for a better experience, better performance, and overall smoother gameplay. So let's jump right into it. Yesterday or today, there was an update that came out for the game, made some changes to Kaleidoscope, also some cosmetic changes to the characters. So decided to check it out, jumped into the game. Got thrown into No Shar Canals, which is a great Battlefield 3 map. But performance was just not good. I noticed it right away. Frame rates were in the 70s, 80s, even dipping down to the 60s sometime. Never even seen that do that. Frame time was all over the place. It was stuttering. Just wasn't a good experience. So decided to back out of the game, do a little bit of research, and indeed I did come across a couple things that really helped out. So first, the most important thing that I came across is actually a setting not found in the game itself, but within the game files. So to do that, you want to go to your File Explorer, Documents, Battlefield 2042, Settings. It's this file right here, prof save underscore profile. You want to open that with Notepad. And you want to find the GST render section, which is for the graphics of the game. That's actually conveniently all the way at the bottom. So I'll go up a little bit. And this line right here, DX12 enabled, by default, it's set to 0, which is disabled. I don't understand that at all. So the first thing you want to do is come in here, change it to 1, enable it. By doing that alone, it drastically improved the performance. It gave me about a 10 FPS boost. Frame times were better. No stuttering. It's fantastic. Secondly, want to come down here a little bit. There's another setting I recommend. Weapon DOF. It's depth of field when you aim down your sights. Can cause frame stutter sometimes. By default, it's enabled with 1. You want to change that to 0, disable it. So that's the only 2 settings I change in here. There's other things you can tinker in here with if you like. There's other config files you can copy paste if you like, but for now I just changed those. So you make the changes, save, close that, and we can go into the game and take a look at some of these settings. So first, I also recommend going to accessibility. Motion blur should be set to 0. Camera shake all the way down the lowest level, it's 20. So I do those 2 items. Now let's go back to display. Now here's the configuration, the settings that I basically ran since day one. I did get the game on launch day, and this is basically the same as I've always ran it. So full screen, 3440, 1440, 144 hertz. Field of view, I keep it 60. I know most people use 80, 90 or max it out. I can't do that with ultrawide. Way too much distortion for me. 60 is the sweet spot for me. Same for the vehicle field of view. ADS field of view is on. Don't mess with brightness. No HDR. Motion blur again. Zeroed out. These post-processing effects can be disabled. They don't really have an impact on performance, but I just don't really like the way they distort the image. Not in this game anyway. Not in most games, to be honest. So chromatic aberration vignette can be disabled. In terms of the settings, I've been running since day one, basically maxed out. So everything at Ultra, HBAO is usually full. I run that. I never use DLSS in the game. It always seemed broken to me and never seemed to give a performance boost. Didn't look right either. Green like haloing effect around objects. Did not like it. Never used it. Never used ray tracing either in this game. Kind of pointless for multiplayer games anyway. Always enabled the boost though. That always helped, I thought. So this is the configuration I always ran with. It's a configuration that to me didn't feel right today. So after had that bad experience, I made the change to config file, came back in here. I did try it with just the config file changes and these settings, and yes, there was a definite improvement. Definite improvement. I was even touching even sometimes 100 frames per second at times. So but I wanted more. So I wanted to see exactly, what I could get out of this game. So I did what most people do, and that's actually turn all these settings down to low. And believe it or not, doesn't look bad at all. Does not look bad. Not a huge difference from even the ultra settings, but huge difference in performance and latency. So I decided to put all that to low. The anti-aliasing is at low. I believe you can disable that also in the config file. Haven't done that yet. Might try it. We'll see. Kept boost on, no ray tracing, but I also enabled DLSS to quality. I thought quality was like a sweet spot for me. It gave me a huge boost, 20 to 30 frames. It was really nice, actually. So that was my second configuration, which I would call like the performance configuration. Now, if you ever go to Battle Nonsense page, he does an amazing job of breaking down system latency, game settings, NVIDIA control panel settings, using boost, using VSync with G-Sync, etc. So what I basically did here, I used his competitive settings, and what that entails is boost, no frame capping at all, no VSync. So this is going to get you your highest frames, your lowest latency. And it's true, in this game it did that for me. Now what that's going to cause is the frame rate to exceed my refresh rate. So I can hit up to sometimes 155 frames in this configuration, which going above 144 in my case, it causes screen tearing, frame stutter, and things like that. So it's just not very smooth at that configuration. Yes, you're going to get the most FPS. Yes, you're going to get the lowest latency, but it's not the smoothest gameplay. And that's where the third configuration would come into play. And in that case, all the graphics settings are still the same. However, you disable boost. You enable VSync. Why? Because VSync works with G-Sync. And again, Battle Nonsense does a fantastic job of breaking down why you want to do that together. I'm not going to get into the technicalities of that, but you do want to use VSync with G-Sync. In addition to this, you go into your NVIDIA control panel and you cap your frame rate to 4 frames below your maximum refresh rate. So in my case, it's 140 frames. So it's a frame cap with VSync and G-Sync together, no boost. It's going to give you the most consistent latency, not the lowest latency, but the most consistent. Also the smoothest gameplay as well, because you're never going to exceed your refresh rate. So the third configuration is going to be the smoothest gameplay. The second configuration is the highest performance, and then of course we're comparing it to our vanilla, which is maxed out settings with terrible performance in comparison anyway, terrible performance and highest latency. So take a look at the 3 comparisons for yourself, make a decision, try them out. I'll reference Battle Nonsense page in the description. You can check those videos out for yourself and let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching.